Warning, due to some language and subject matter, listener discretion is advised.
There is a saying that goes, pressure creates diamonds, fire refines gold. Illuminated by neon lights in Vinnie Lopez's Vital Training Systems gym is the phrase, pressure is a privilege. My next guest is the embodiment of that phrase, as well as the fire that fuels the desire to be more today than you were yesterday. I'd like to welcome Elevation Fight Team member Cadillac Le'Ville Simpson to the show today. We have a great talk about unconventional life journeys and what the future may hold. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Caught on the Mic. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking to my friend Le'Ville Cadillac Simpson, or how does it go? Is it Cadillac the first thing you say?
Cadillac LeVille, yeah, we go with that one, but you know.
You went deep in the well for that one, right? How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How did the week start off for you?
Started off good, you know. Nice sunny weather, good training, so you can't really complain about that.
Right. So you're actually doing like some striking coaching at Vital Training Systems right now, aren't you?
Yeah, yes, sir. That is correct.
Nice. How long you been doing that?
I've been employed with Vital since right before the pandemic started. I did a little bit of striking coaching back when I used to live in Texas. I used to help teach a kids class. I had also in 2014 for a little bit was training and teaching up under the Bang Muay Thai system as an affiliate coach out in Killeen, Fort Hood, Harker Heights, Texas as well too. So I've been like off and on with teaching and showing people how to swing their body correctly for violence for about since I was 23. So 8 going on 9 years.
Nice. Without any further ado, why don't you introduce yourself to my audience and let's start talking a little bit about your life story and your trajectory that brought you to where you're at right now.
My name is Le'Ville Simpson. Did a little bit of growing up in Laramie, Wyoming before I ended up moving to Killeen, Texas in 2007. Yeah, I moved to Texas 2007 with my dad. Graduated, played football. And one day I walked into a gym out of high school and just started training. You know, I was a 240-pound kid. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life after I graduated high school. Thought about maybe joining the military. That was taken away from me due to some charges that came up about when I was younger, when I used to live in Wyoming. Best thing that ever happened to me because after I was turned down for the military, the gym owner looked at me. He was like, hey, man, you know, he's like, you've been training with the fight team for about a year. He's like, how about you just fight for a year and see how you like it? And I was like, okay. My friend, training partner, old high school teammate, UFC welterweight Jeff Neal, was getting ready for a fight. Got his nose broke a couple weeks before the fight. The gym owner had asked me, he's like, hey, you want to take this fight? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I took my first amateur fight on maybe about a month's notice. And I knocked it out in the first round. And that's what I've been doing ever since. It's just been fighting ever since.
Nice. I think I heard a story that you took that fight before you really had any jiu-jitsu or wrestling. Is that true?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. The gym owner like looked at me. He told me, he's just like, hey, he's like, hey boy, you know, if you hit the ground, you're fucked, right? And I was like, yeah, I know. So the crazy part about it is, you know, like adrenaline's pumping, first fight, don't really know what to expect. And then dude, we're just throwing. And I had him against the cage and boom, 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 boom. And next thing you know, he went out. But I thought he was shooting. So I took off for a second. I was like looking to see if like this guy had like was shooting for a takedown. And the next thing you know, I look and he's just out cold. Crowd screaming. I didn't sleep I don't think I slept that whole weekend. after that fight. Just saw the adrenaline, and it's a high that can't be replaced. It can't be explained. And I've been chasing it, just continue fighting and kept going with it ever since.
Yeah. So what's the adrenaline like for you when you're preparing for a fight? Like, especially the night or two before, do you have that same adrenaline high where like sleep is kind of, you almost find yourself sleep deprived in a way?
Not really, because you're more or less a little bit more depleted before the weigh-ins, you know. So sleep comes a little bit easier. Now, after weigh-ins, you know, after I get the weigh-in and I start eating, sleep may be a little bit hard, but it's mostly because I'm waking up throughout the night, like snacking and stuff like that. But then I go right back to sleep. So, like, my thing about it that helps keep me calm is one, the eating, but two, I take a lot of like hot showers just to help me relax. That way I can like, I'll eat, hot shower, nap, eat, hot shower, nap. And I just wash, you know, rinse and repeat throughout the whole day. Keep that going. That way I'm able to like sleep. I feel like the hot water helps with the digestion. I don't know if that's scientifically proven or not, but it does something for me up here. So that's all that matters.
Another story that I heard, and you have this great way of telling it, where you talk about how MMA found you. You didn't find MMA, and how it may have saved your life. You want to share that with my audience?
Yeah, it was like I just didn't have a lot of direction when I got out of high school. And, you know, I had friends that were getting in trouble. People I knew, people I went to high school with, associates, you know, this, that, and the other. Involved in either shootings, getting shot, going to jail, all sorts of other stuff. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do, especially when I got turned down for the military, you know. So then, yeah, like I said, that first gym owner basically was just like, hey, you know, you can give this a shot and see how you like this. And if not, you know, you can find anything else that you want to do. And it was crazy because I had like two really good friends. They had asked me to go play basketball with them one day. And I was like, hey, I was like, I'm getting ready to go train. I'm getting ready to go train Muay Thai. You're going to go to practice. And they're like, all right, well, we'll hit you up or hit us up when you're done training. I was like, all right, cool. And then when I got out of practice, I had like 20 to 30 missed calls telling me that my friends were involved with the shooting. Like I had just gotten a whole bunch of like different stories. Oh, they were shooting at the cops shot at them. They shot at somebody, this, that, and the other. It was just a whole bunch of like madness. Right. There was some sort of shooting involved that day. And that was the day I decided that was exactly what needed to be done, that I was in the gym when all this happened. I was going to go hang out with my friends if I wasn't going to the gym. But I was so drawn in and I was so like just in awe with martial arts at that point in time, because one, it was helping me lose weight. Two, it was helping me gain confidence. And it was just something that I really enjoyed. And yeah, when that day happened, that changed my life completely. Like I literally was just like, all right, well, I was in here when that happened. I was in here for a reason. So I should probably stay in this gym, should probably stay in these martial arts, stay training and understanding and learning, and see where this could possibly take me. And here I am, 13 years later of training?
Yeah.
Still doing it.
So what is it in particular about the martial arts that makes a person so obsessive with it that they do choose that path? Because your story, while it's uncommon, it's not entirely uncommon amongst people that take that path and become pro fighters. It's so inspiring to hear. But what is it about martial arts that becomes that obsessive focal point for somebody?
I can't speak for everyone. I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, it was just the discipline that it gave me. It was just the discipline. It was the confidence that it gave me. You know, like I struggled a lot with insecurity growing up, and helped me feel better about myself. It gave me something to look forward to every day. Like I would wake up, it's, oh man, I got to go to the gym. I got to do this. Then you start buying your own gear. So you're no longer using the gym's loaner gear. The gym owner had actually bought me my first pair of like mat shoes. So like I would go in there, I would clean the mats before training, I would train, and then I would clean the mats after training. And this man, his name was Hector Ruiz, gifted me with a pair of shoes. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever, right? To be gifted a pair of shoes. So it was just more or less like, you never know what you were going to get. One day you could go in there and you could have a good day. The next day you go in there, one of the more experienced guys would come in, or maybe it was a younger kid that came in that had been training from junior high to high school, and then you get your ass kicked by either someone that's really experienced, that's older than you, or someone that has more experience than you, that's younger than you. And it just, I don't know, it just kept me coming back.
As somebody that's coaching others now with your occupation, your day job, what are some of the fundamentals that you have developed that has made you a good mentor for other up and coming fighters or people that are just now getting into the sport?
I feel it's the wins and the losses that help, that allow me to be able to speak better to a person, and also having great mentors throughout this journey. I've had, Crew Kasib, Jameer Toledo from the Shootbox Academy. I spent a little bit of time up under Dwayne Ludwig, very briefly. Tony Cummins with Blue Ocean Muay Thai. And now I'm up under Vinnie Lopez, who's my boss. My mentor is also bringing me on the strength and conditioning side and helped me understand that science. And just being able to take everything that all of those men have spoken into me and my experiences in combat sports with the highs and the lows, I feel the empathy, the understanding, and the way that, my journey has gone, it allows me to better be able to speak to it. Like there's guys, and I'm not going to sit here and discredit anyone, or I'm not going to talk bad about anyone or anything like that. But I feel as though a lot of people really don't understand what they're made of until like they've taken a loss. And I'm not knocking anyone that's undefeated. Like, do I wish I had a prettier record than what I did? Yeah. But I was also the guy that never said no. Right. I took some fights that I probably shouldn't have taken. But, that's at the end of the day, it provided me with life lessons. It showed me that I knew how to handle adversity. I knew how to come back from adversity. And I'm better. And I feel like I'm able to like speak that into people. Yeah. And, also being up under Vinny now, like I've noticed his eye for detail. Like it's the smallest thing. Like, like a lot of people would get upset, like, oh, he's nitpicking. But yeah, he may be nitpicking, but it's the perfection that he strives for, the way he's mentoring me and that within striking and coaching me with that and striking and mentoring me with that and becoming an awesome strength and conditioning coach. I think it's taken me to another level. Yeah. Because now I see myself being able to have that eye for detail. Like, hey man, like you're literally like half an inch too wide here. You're half an inch too shallow there. Your elbow's too high here, or your elbow's too low here. So having great teachers around me, and then also having had those experiences of wins and losses, I feel is what will carry me and keep me going into this sport and continue keeping me in this sport, even when I hang up the gloves, just because of the great teachers I've had and the experiences that I've had.
Yeah, I think that's a value that a lot of people underappreciate, is how much struggle can actually influence and make you sharper in the long term. People kind of get caught up in their own mindset, caught up in their own bullshit. They think they're the greatest thing on the face of the planet. And sadly enough, not enough people get humbled fast enough to where they can step back a couple of notches and look at things more pragmatically. From a personal standpoint, I was always trying to be a rock star, right? Or a famous musician, but it didn't happen. And one of the things that I tell people now, it's like, yeah, I sacrificed a very conventional life for this unconventional life. And one thing I have is I can pass this knowledge on to my kids. I can like show them how my failures bettered me as a person and made me more successful later on down the line. So I get exactly what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. And Vinny's absolutely right. Small details matter.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what's it like working for Vinny?
It's
I love that guy. So
damn, you would put me on the fucking spot like that. It's stressful, but it's a blessing at the same time. It can be stressful is because there's always the demand for you not to become complacent and for you to keep honing your craft and to be better than what you were yesterday. So
right.
I feel as though some days when I go in there, I'm like, man, like I was at 99% today and I wasn't at 100%. So I have to make sure that tomorrow I'm at 100%. But it's also a blessing being there because being up under that pressure is a privilege. And he has that written in neon letters, these neon lighted letters, pressure is a privilege. That was a quote in one of the books, that pressure is a privilege. I'm trying to think of it. But that pressure is a privilege because I know for a fact that he doesn't allow any and everybody up under those doors as an employee or as a coach. So for me to have that opportunity to do it it's a privilege. The pressure that I feel from having that privilege is the fact that I'm a select few. Like I'm a very select few. And there's always a demand for like we said, like honing your craft and being better than what you were and continuing your education from the previous day. So, and to be able to learn from someone like that, not only as my striking coach, but also someone who's mentoring me on the strength and conditioning side and seeing how scientific and how well programmed and how in depth the programming is into for his athletes. I'm talking from UFC athletes to the everyday athletes, your people that are working, business owners, entrepreneurs. Like when you see the passion that he pours into everything that he does in the life, the only thing it makes you want to do is be able to be better for yourself and for your family and for the business, because you see exactly what you see how a person built a big successful business from the mud. Like he came from the mud, and to be able to see that and to understand like this work ethic, the experience of wins and losses, to be able to like see that and rub shoulders with that every day and be able to pick a person's brain like that on like an intimate level it's really deep, man. It's really deep.
Totally rewarding. So shifting gears a little bit, what is your ultimate goal as far as your fighting career at this moment in your life right now?
I'm enjoying it. Like the most important thing for me out of fighting right now is enjoying it. The ultimate goal is to see where it takes me. I would love to be able to hit a big stage. I would love to be able to hit a Bellator, a PFL, ONE FC, UFC. I would love to be able to hit there. But if I'm not able to hit that myself as an athlete, I know I'll be able to hit that as a coach. So the journey is never going to stop for me. So the only thing I can continue doing is going out there and putting my best foot forward, keep improving every day like I have been improving every day. Finally, like understanding like the confidence and it's okay to be scared while I'm competing has given me such a freedom in these last two fights. Like, unfortunately, I didn't get the outcome that I wanted in my last fight, but I've had my best two performances outside of that hiccup in these last two fights when I finally like faced the man in the mirror and like acknowledged a lot of things. And I can give a lot of thanks of that to, like some of my teammates who talked about how, they're scared or seeing how they've been scared, talking to coaches about it. But really, it was the lockdowns of 2020 that really made me like dig in deep, because I had to sneak around for training, like we would get like a text from certain guys like, hey, like we have these small pods, we have these small training pods. We're going to meet at this gym this day and we're going to train. So I'm maybe only getting an hour or two of training a day. On top of, you're unemployed because the whole world's like shutting down if you weren't an essential worker. So I spent a lot of time at the house with my now wife and my dog. And, sometimes you're just waking up in the middle of the night. And I really had to like face myself, and I had to like answer a lot of questions that I had for myself about who I was as a fighter, who I was as a man, and all that other good stuff. So I can honestly sit here and say, you have some people that, and I've seen it like, people that I know personally, the lockdowns fucked them up drastically. Like they don't know how to like come back to society, but I feel the lockdowns benefited me as a fighter, and also benefited me as a man, and it also benefited me as a partner for my wife too, as a husband, and all that other good stuff. So I turned a negative into a positive. And since coming out of the lockdowns, like I said, I've had 2 really good performances besides that one small hiccup where that punch slipped through and put me out. But that's, like I said, it's 12 years in the game, it was bound to happen. So
how did you become aligned with Team Elevation?
Shit. I had came out to Denver in 2015. I crashed on my cousin's couch. I was still up under the Bang Muay Thai affiliation system. So I was with my cousin for 2 weeks, driving out, training at Dwayne's. I go home, this, that, and the other. I went home. I fought. It was my last fight at 70. I lost that, unfortunately. But I realized just the 2 weeks, the little amount of time that I spent here benefited me so much that I was like, all right, I was like, I need to move to Colorado. 1, I'm going to get the altitude. 2, there's a whole bunch of opportunities to train with world-class athletes moving out here. So I looked at my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, hey, I plan on moving to Denver next year, summer of 2016. She was like, oh, okay. She's like, well, how about you move out there now and you could send for me later? And I was like, nah. I was like, we're going to go out there together. So I worked, 3 different jobs, saved up a whole bunch of money. I was training with Colton Smith at the time. He was on The Ultimate Fighter with Neil Magny. And I just looked at him because, he was leaving Fort Hood, Texas. He was getting stationed somewhere else. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, moving out to Denver. He's like, well, I can get you in touch with Lee Strabowling out of Elevation Fight Team. I was like, oh, okay, really? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, I got you. So literally, I'm like, it's me and the dog. We're driving. And I think I'm maybe 8 hours down the road. And then all of a sudden I get this instant messenger on my Facebook, and it's Leaster. He's like, hey, Colton told me about you, this, that, and the other, that you're moving out here. So whenever you get settled in, give me a holler and come on in and train. And this is when Elevation Fight Team was at the Muscle Farm factory. So we get out here, I get settled in, all that stuff. And I remember pulling up to this big ass like facility. And I remember seeing the semi, some of the products in it, but it was a semi, and it had that front kick where Anderson Silva was catching Vitor Belfort on the chin.
Yeah.
And that's when like it hit me. Like I sat out in my car for like an additional 10 minutes. I was like, oh shit, I'm really here. So I sat out there for a few minutes, got myself together, and I walk in, and then I introduced myself to Leaster. And then the next thing you know, I'm seeing like Neil Magny walking on the mats. Then I'm seeing Matt Brown walking on the mats, because this is when he was with us. And I'm seeing all these other guys just walking onto the mats. And I was like, holy shit, I was like, I'm really here. And and then, I got my ass beat for the first 3 weeks. I literally got, it would be days where Neil's trying to beat the shit out of me. Then, he's sending Matt try to beat the shit out of me. Then Brandon Thatch, I remember he kicked my ass one day in sparring, and he was like, hey man, he's like, I'm really sorry about this. He brought me a recovery drink. He's like, I'm really sorry about this. He's like, Alicia told me to do it to see if you'd stay on the team.
That is amazing.
So I literally spent like the first 3 weeks just every day going into practice, just getting my ass whooped, just to see if I would quit. And, then, after like 2-3 months went by, the ass whoopings came less frequent. Don't get me wrong, I was still getting my ass whooped, but they were like less intentional. Like I was getting more pointers and stuff now because everyone's seen that I was there, and like I joked about it after Neil and I became friends. I was just like, he was like, yeah, man. He's like, I was really trying to make you quit. He's like, I was really trying to see if like you had the heart for this and if you really belonged here. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I packed my whole life up. I packed my lady up. We moved 13 hours north. And the last thing I was going to be able to do was get my ass kicked for about a week and look at him like, yeah, this shit's way too hard. I made a mistake. Like there's no way I could have done it. So yeah, man, it's been great. What? May 15th will make it 6 years that I lived here in Denver. And nice. And been training.
That's this weekend.
Yeah. So it'll be 6 years that I've been out here and been training with Team Elevation, and this is where I'm going to stay until the wheels fall off.
That's amazing, sir. You have a fight coming up May 28th. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Right. I'll be fighting for GC MMA in Lake Charles, Louisiana, against Omar Johnson in the main event. I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I think anyone that tells you that they're not nervous is either crazy or lying or in denial. And only thing that I know that I have to do is if I go out there and perform the way that I know that I can perform, the result's going to handle itself.
Yeah, for sure. So do you look at this fight as kind of dinner and you're looking at dessert, what comes after it? Do you look one fight ahead?
No, never.
Just focus on what's in front of you then, right?
Right. I used to. I can admit I used to about maybe when I was 27, 28, because I had been on the team now for a little bit over a year, almost 2 years. And then you would hear from like guys that are in the UFC or like the coaches like, hey man, you're like only like 1 or 2 more away from like getting to where you want to be. And
that's exactly why I asked that.
I used to have such a destination fixation that I couldn't enjoy the present, which would cause me to have like these hot or cold moments. I could have like a great performance and then I would have like an okay performance. I would have a win. I would have another win, which I eked it out barely, and then I would lose. And then once I took this whole destination fixation out, like I said, which I definitely thank the lockdowns for, because it made me more or less appreciate this present moment. And once I learned to do that, it's taken the pressure off of my shoulders when it's coming to fighting. The only thing that I worry about now when I'm fighting is just performing. I'm not, if I win and I beat this guy, then I'm going to get here. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. It's just worrying about the performance. If I get if I perform the way that I know I can perform, the outcome is going to be the way that it should be.
For sure. So what's one thing that people commonly misunderstand about you?
I don't know. I don't know about at this present moment. Maybe in the past, when I used to live in Wyoming, a lot of people thought I had this bad attitude or, that I was some sort of thug. I was this and I was that. But, it was just a lot of like bullshit that you had authority figures putting in your head because you're one of the only few minority kids in the school. So, you'll have a teacher walk up to you and tell you, yeah, man, you're not going to do nothing with your life. Or, you like a gangbanger and shit like that. And it's just like, dude, dog, I'm only fucking 13, 14, 6, 7 years old. And You tell them I'm not going to be shit and you're supposed to be an educator? Wow. So I could say, like, probably back then, it was people probably thought I just was just a bad kid. I was just misunderstood. Maybe now, if I could think about it a little bit more, dude, I have a good mouthpiece. I know how to talk to people. I really know how to talk to people, but does that make it to where, like, I'm just this huge social butterfly that has a humongous circle of friends now? I have a lot of associates around me. I'll tell you that. I have a lot of associates. But do I have a lot of friends in this life? No. I don't get to call a lot of people don't get to sit there and say that they're my friend. So that's like one thing that I think is probably misunderstood is, oh, he's this big social butterfly and he's got a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of associates, and I got maybe like 10 friends, maybe, if that, if I'm lucky, maybe 10. Just from, martial arts or Texas. I got maybe 1 or 2 I really considered friends from Wyoming, people like that. But yeah, man, like, I don't let a lot of people in. I'm a really guarded person.
But there's a lot to be said about keeping your circle small and impactful.
Yeah, that's true. But shit, man, I mean, we see it every day. A lot of people still don't understand that. People in my age group,
right?
Fuck, there's probably people older than both of us that are still, oh, I got friends everywhere. No, they're dumbasses.
Right. That's so true. That's so true. So what's the greatest compliment you've ever received?
To keep being me and that people love me for me.
That's amazing.
To keep being me and that people love me for me. And then just the fact that just me being me attracts a lot of people. It attracts a lot of people. A lot of people like that playful energy that I can have at times. And the realness that I have, I'll tell a motherfucker how it is. Like, on the drop of a dime, it's really hard for me to hold my tongue at times. Like, so if somebody, if a friend, even a complete stranger, wants the honest truth from me, I will give them the honest truth as blunt as I can.
Right. So in your friend group, do you spend any time at the Champ House playing UFC tournaments? Because Arut talked about this earlier this week or last week. Do you ever get into any of those?
No. So my group of friends on the team, that I kicked it with heavy. We call ourselves the Oreo Bandits. It's Curtis Blades, Neil Magny, and Austin Hubbard.
Yes. I love all 3 of those guys.
So yeah, we've got our little clique in the gym. We go by the Oreo Bandits. So Austin and Curtis and a couple of the other guys on the team, they all used to live at this house called the Fight House in Lakewood. Mm-hmm. So, and then a lot of us would go over there after practices. We'd play Madden. We'd bring Nintendos and shit over there, and we just play games. It's just a bunch of dudes just hanging out after beating the shit out of each other, playing games.
Right.
What I consider Corey Sandhagen a good friend on the team. There's some times where a good group of guys will all meet at the park and we'll play spike ball for a few hours and shit like that. But video games, I don't know. I started getting away from video games at 28 because I started sucking at them. And then
that's so funny, dude. That's why I could never get into them.
Yeah.
The only games I play are fighting games.
Yeah, I started sucking at them at 28 because I'm up every morning by 4 o'clock, and then I'm in bed by 8, and then I'm in the gym and I'm either in the gym or I'm at work, So then like when I came home, like my wife's here. She never badgered me about how much I play games, but dude, I never like really like had like the energy or the time to like really like dive into them unless it was like right after a fight. Like then I could like binge and just marathon through a game for about like a week. And then I'm just like, all right, yeah, I'm done. Like I need to go handle my shit. So yeah, man, like I'm really not much of a gamer anymore. Like, like everyone's talking about, the new Xbox or the PlayStation 5 and stuff like that. And like I've joked about, I'm like, yeah, man, like I would love to get that. I was like, but as soon as I get it, I'm gonna play it for like 2 weeks heavy, and then it's just gonna sit there collecting dust. And I've blown $400 to $500 on what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
money that could be spent on a vacation.
On a vacation, learning now since, like I said, like I've Vinnie's mentoring me. Vinnie and Vinnie and the entire Vital Training System staff, they're mentoring me and getting me coached up on becoming a strength coach. So that's cool. So like I can, now I'm going to pay $400 or $500 for a game system when I could pay $400 to $500 to continue that education.
Exactly.
And then, or now, well, since the news is out there, my wife and I were expecting our first child in November.
Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, we're expecting a son. So it's just like, do I really want to just blow money on video games and a whole bunch of other goofy shit? Or do I want to like better plan for my son whenever he comes? And then I'll blow money on video games and goofy shit when he's like 5 or 6.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, man, I really appreciate somebody that can just kind of tell things the way it is. People that can like lay things out in as raw a form as they possibly can. And you've done that here. I am super excited for your fight on May 28th. You can find this fight exclusively on pay-per-view. Make sure you follow Le'Ville Simpson on Instagram. He'll be posting about it more frequently. Give a follow to Elevation Fight Team. Thanks for doing the show today, man.
No, yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
I really want to thank Le'Ville Simpson one more time for being on the show today. Give him a follow on Instagram. He has a big fight coming up, and he will be sharing updates as it gets closer to that date. I also want to give a shout out to my friends at Elevation Fight Team and High Altitude Martial Arts, as well as my buddy Vinnie Lopez and Vital Training Systems. Make sure you give them all a follow or a shout out on social media. If you're in the mood for following people, make sure you give Caught on the Mic a follow on your favorite social media platform. I always appreciate that 5-star review on the Apple Podcast app, and you can review me on Spotify now as well. This has been Caught on the Mic with Michael Clark. I'm Michael Clark. Till next time, thank you.